Welcome to today's session. I am in deep snow, even if it's almost end of April. It is just so much snow outside my house. So I still have to wait for spring. Anyway, that's not the business today, but it's just really close to me, the snow. First of all, again, let us just make our own motivation in silence a moment. Okay. And now I share the screen. Here. For our motivation that we are doing together, again, the two verses, one connected with compassion and one with wisdom. Mercy alone is seen as the seed of conqueror's rich harvest, as water for development, and as ripening in a state of long enjoyment. Therefore, at the start, I praise compassion. And then samsara and nirvana lack even an atom of true existence, while cause and effect and dependent arising are unfailing. I seek your blessings to discern the import of Nagarjuna thought, which is that these two are complementary and not contradictory. Okay, well, now, where are we at the moment in our text? Supplement the middle way, Chandrakirti, and the illumination of the thought of Lama Tsongkhapa, who is a commentary on the supplement. And here, the supplement of the middle way, again in the middle, remember the text, which has four main headings. We heard about the meaning of the title. We heard about the obeisance of the translator, which were both not very big topics. And now we are in the meaning of the text. And here there are again four main headings, A, B, C, D. And we are here in A, the expression of worship. And in the expression of worship, it's mainly about compassion, praise of compassion without differentiating its types. And the other is praise of compassion with differentiating its types. And we just talked about in the last two sessions about the first one. And I just go on here, just give a short overview what we did. This praise of compassion without differentiating is talking about the three main causes of a bodhisattva. And I want just to go to this drawing down here of like how this is a cause and effect relationship. That great compassion is generating out of this comes mind generation for all limitless sentient beings. The correct view is arising. Sometimes it switches the places with mind generation. Out of these three reasons or three causes, a bodhisattva is born. And the bodhisattva practicing then is developing to a Buddha. And the Buddha is teaching, and the hearers and solitary risers are listening to the teaching and give the teachings so that, again, here at the start, great compassion may be generated, and so on and so on. So these are the three main causes. Then we talked about here, I want to highlight this, compassion as the root cause of the other two causes of a bodhisattva. And here's this nice analogy why compassion is so important. Here in yellow color, A at the beginning, because it is like the seed. And the seed is then, when it gets nurtured with water, sunlight, and everything it needs, can grow. And in this way, compassion is very important also in the middle, because that the seed, the path that the bodhisattva is traveling on, is really being able to grow, to develop. And then at the end, again, compassion is very important, because when the path is gone, is traversed, and the whole tree in this example is grown, then the harvest can happen. And at the end, the harvest is a continuous, let me see, I have it here, no I don't. I think that it's a continuous source of enjoyment of all sentient beings until the end of time. That is then the harvest. Okay, so we talked about this. We did some meditation shortly, or not meditation, some explanation about how to develop compassion. And now, okay, go ahead. This. And then last time, we then went to one specific type of compassion. And we talked about this analogy of the watermill, of the 6 features, showing how we sentient beings are so tightly bound to the cycle of samsara, of cyclic existence. Also connected to the 12 links that make this turn also very visible. And here in this context, we also talked about the cause of this. What is the cause of this watermill that is turning and turning? And we maybe remember it was this very unpeaceful mind. And why is the unpeaceful mind? Because of our grasping for a self of person and phenomena. In other words, also the view of the transitory collection. And this is where we go, where we went then last time. Oops, now something very strange happened. I'm sorry, I have to get quickly out here. No, that's not good at all. Oops, yeah, I have to go through all of them, all of them, all of them. Yes, here we are. Okay, so we had then specifically, we looked a little closer at the view of the transitory collection, and just to remind us of what it is actually. In the definition, it is a afflicted wisdom that observes either the I or mind in one's own continuum and conceives it to exist inherently. So this, we will go on again, this will come more about this, observing the I and the mind, what is meant with it. That will go on today. Actually with this one. Okay, so now next one. Yes. Now here are the 3 different compassions. Here we talk now about them differentiating its types. And I'll make it big so that you can see something. Here, A in yellow color is the great compassion, observing sentient beings. And you can see the little watermill here again. It is just a compassion observing sentient beings qualified by suffering, by the 3 types of suffering. And the definition of this compassion, it is a compassion that is a consciousness, a mind, that is not explicitly conjoined by either the wisdom realizing that sentient beings are impermanent, or the wisdom realizing that sentient beings are devoid are not conjoined with this compassion. It's just mere observing mere sentient beings, where with the suffering, the three types. And the three types, as we probably know, remember well, is the three types: is suffering of suffering, our general daily sufferings, the suffering of change, that's what we consider to be happiness in our daily life, and then the all pervasive compounded suffering, that suffering that is just there because we are born with these aggregates that come from karma and delusion. So the pervasive suffering is constantly there. Okay. Here on the bottom, down here below the watermill, this compassion exists in a person that does not have the realization of coarse or subtle selflessness. It's a coarse understanding, a coarse understanding. Okay, so now we heard the last time as well, compassion is through practicing, through nourishing it like the seed with all the condition that it can grow into a sprout. When we nourish compassion, it gets stronger and stronger through many different conditions that help that it gets stronger. So by meditating specifically upon impermanence and also then the wisdom of selflessness. And when we are on a level that the compassion is conjoined, and now I go to the left side here below the A, when this is conjoined with the wisdom realizing impermanence, also wanting to liberate sentient beings from grasping at subtle impermanence and its causes, seeing that the sentient beings are momentarily disintegrating and changing. When this is happening, then we are developing or are arriving at the second compassion. And this one is the B in orange color, compassion observing phenomena. And again, what it means, I go first to the definition. It's a compassion, but in this context, it's always referring to great compassion. That is explicitly conjoined by the wisdom realizing that sentient beings are impermanent and wishes them to be free of suffering. So it is a compassion conjoined with the wisdom realizing that sentient beings are impermanent. So what does it mean? The compassion qualified by wisdom realizing impermanence. And here's a very nice example that is often used in the text, like the reflection of a moon here on this water, and the water is slightly rippled, means that there's some wind that is moving the water. And when you remember yourself maybe having seen that, then you can remember also that the image of the moon sometimes is there, round, sometimes gone, sometimes coming, going, it's just constantly changing. So due to the ripples in the water, the moon disintegrates momentarily, changes momentarily, comes and goes. And exactly in the same way it is with sentient beings. And exactly, so, it's the same with the sentient beings. And here below, you can see that the sentient beings, this image of the moon is unstable, being seen, being not seen, sometimes there, sometimes not. And the understanding that everything is impermanent and empty is connected to this wisdom realizing impermanence. Okay, and then when this compassion, having the understanding that everything is constantly disintegrating, changing. When this is growing stronger and strong, is nourished, then at one certain point, the realization of the lack of inherent existence, of true existence, is getting so strong that now this compassion is conjoined with the wisdom realizing emptiness. That means like the wish, wanting to liberate sentient beings from grasping at inherent existence and its causes. And with this realization, with this conjunction, it becomes the third compassion, the compassion observing the unobservable. And here again, there is a definition. It's compassion, great compassion, that is explicitly conjoined by the wisdom realizing that sentient beings are empty of true existence and wishes them to be free of suffering. And here again is an image that Chandrakirti put in his text. It's like here the conception of self of person down here in the picture is like an ocean with blue color, the ocean. And this is the view of the transitory collection, holding to I and mine as inherently existent. This conception of self of person is the ocean. And sentient beings here up where the river that is coming into the ocean, they are holding so strongly at ignorance, the conception of self of phenomena. And with this conception, they are constantly then coming into the ocean of suffering and of samsara. And I just realized I said sentient beings too. I don't like actually to talk so much. I want actually always include us, or at least mine as well. So maybe just to make it specific in this regard, that every day, when I really sometimes have a moment to consider and see how my mind is working, I can see that I constantly think about I, and my, mind, my. I want this, no, I don't want this, I, mine. Conception of self, of person is constantly there. And that's just the basis, the ocean. And then because of ignorance that is additionally coming to this, that everything is like really permanently there, is self-existing. Because of this, looking at the things and myself in this way as well, the river of ignorance is just making this ocean being more dominant, more there, and all the time. Then why am I astonished when I think, oh, why do I have suffering? It makes so much sense because it's so much grasping, always at myself. Okay. One more thing about these three compassions up here in the corner, in this pink color. All three compassions that we just mentioned now, they are, I start in the middle, the same subjective aspect. The subjective aspect is my own wish to free sentient beings from suffering. They have also the same observed object. Here, the suffering sentient beings. We heard that actually both before. But what is different here, but the object of observation is differentiated. The sentient beings are like within in the first case, just the observing sentient beings qualified by suffering. Then in the second compassion, the compassion is conjoined with the wisdom realizing sentient beings being impermanent. And the third one is the conjoined with the wisdom that we sentient beings are empty of true existence, inherent existence. And this way they are different, but they have the same subject aspect and have the same observed object. Okay, so I think we have a bit more time, and I would like to go to the next one. Okay. And here again, it's connected to, and it just will be the topic for today. We stay with these three compassions. And here it's again shown how a little bit more about, we heard about with the water mill, we heard more about the great compassion observing sentient beings, mere sentient beings. Huh? And here now come the other two compassions, a little bit more for us to understand what it means, what it's about.
Claudia?
Okay. Yeah.
I got a question.
Yes.
So with these three compassions, so the first one, I just observe sentient beings and their suffering, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the second and third one as well. But then
Yes.
only with the realization of impermanence and the realization of emptiness of inherent existence with it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, but can it also be looked at like, oh, I observe sentient beings, oh, and I see they're suffering. Oh, why are they suffering? Oh, because they grasping for things as permanent.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes. Sure.
So this aspect comes with it then, instead of only their suffering.
Yes. But I think exactly, it's, I think when we really investigate, then very soon we get other concepts as well. And, sure, you can just remember, oh yeah, they think they're permanent. But then you're already of generating the aspect of actually, at the end that you think, oh no, they are not permanent. They are impermanent. So you're already with, generating the wisdom, realizing that they are impermanent.
Okay, I didn't really get that. So you're just talking about oneself, observing them, or the sentient beings getting the suffering?
I did not answer your question. Did you say right?
I didn't get it, no.
You didn't. So just ask again. Ask again. What did you
So
want to ask?
okay, so I realized, say let's say like, oh, I realized impermanence, okay. So and I see sentient beings suffering.
Yeah.
So from the practical point of view, how would that then, what will be then, okay, the first compassion doesn't have this impermanence. So I just see people, oh, they're suffering,
Yeah.
right? Oh, this one falls on the ground, falls, there's a wound, ow, it hurts, ow, okay,
Yeah.
suffering.
Yeah.
But the second one then, oh, then my conjoined then with this impermanence realization. So things are changing moment by moment. So this is conjoined then, and then I see people, they are suffering, but then how does this aspect of this impermanence comes into play?
It will just come right now. You're just talking what I will just say the next minute.
Oh,
So
really?
it looks like you're fine. You are just going there where it goes here as well. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I
Okay.
think you see. Otherwise, you say it's really. I think it's just coming right now.
Okay.
Fine. So okay, here we have great compassion again. Here on the left, yellow color. Huh? That's the gate still about compassion. And now we focus a moment on the compassion conjoined with the wisdom realizing permanence. So that's just what you said. This is now there. And what's happening? Because of understanding this, because of becoming a wisdom, we realize, and now I have to go to here to this non-Buddhist, they hold something, and then it gets clear. They hold Atman, a self. And for them, this self is permanent, not changing momentarily, unitary, it's inside the aggregates, but not dependent on them, and it is independent, means not being produced or dependent on causes and conditions. So this is this permanent, unitary, independent. I say it always Pui, up here on the left, the Pui self. And exactly that's what's happening. It's also in my case, I'm exactly the same. I always hold to Pui, in my daily life. And then if I remember, oh, no, wait, it's impermanent. Things are impermanent. I'm impermanent. So the more I can put this in, but now this is on a very high level, what we talk about here, when we have realized this, then this realization conjoined as a compassion with the wisdom realizing impermanence, it eliminates holding a self as pull and also holding the self as substantially self-sufficient existent. So both of these course views of ourselves is existing, they both get eliminated. And at the same time, one realizes simultaneously that the self is, now I go down here on the left side, the self is part of the fourth aggregate, actually a compositional factor. It's the composite factors are the 49 mental factors plus the NACP. So it's one of part of this fourth aggregate of us. And because of this, and the fourth aggregate, I can add this here, this fourth aggregate is non-associated compositional phenomena, NACP. These are necessarily imputed on the other aggregate. So this is the realization that is the change that we see, that is the imputation. Out of this, then we see self is a part of the fourth aggregate. Then here we can see the self is not different, is not a different entity from the aggregate. And that beings don't exist substantially. They are not self-sufficient and also not permanent, unitary, independent. And therefore, we can realize, we can definitely understand that the self and beings are designated to the mere phenomena, let's just see here, of the aggregate. And therefore, this compassion is called a great compassion observing phenomena. I hope this got clear. Let me see. I take the next one because it's quite closely connected. We are still now this great compassion. Now the third one, the compassion observing the unapprehendable. And we see how this is working. So on the basis of the other, the second compassion, now again we meditate, we develop our compassion with many reasonings. We develop the emptiness, the lack of existence. Think about it. The more we, with this compassion grows, then at one point it is conjoined with the wisdom realizing emptiness. And when this happens, this eliminates not all, but the other ones are already eliminated, but now it also eliminates holding the self as inherently existent. And this is the most subtle view of how reality exists, how about the lack of inherent existence. And one realizes simultaneously with this realization that the self or sentient beings are empty of inherent existence. Also, a subtle selflessness of person is realized with valid cognition. And because of this, it is called compassion, great compassion, observing the unapprehendable. Okay. Anything to comment, or David, or is it got it quite clear right now, up to now?
Yeah, well, so I still, to make it clear, so reviewing sentient beings, okay, they are suffering, all these three parts, they all are three are suffering. The sentient beings.
They are free of suffering. No, they have suffering.
That is what I'm saying. We are focused on their suffering.
Yeah, okay, yes.
But the suffering from all of the sentient beings all are the same? Or we're just like, then with this impermanence and this inherently, comes into play as well, or not? You
That's a good
understand?
question. Yeah,
This was
that's a
my
good
question also before.
Oh,
Because the first one, this is one I remember also from the book from His Holiness. They also like you have to, how say, to cultivate this compassion. You can see sentient beings. They are suffering. I want them to be free of suffering.
yeah,
And then the sentient beings, they are suffering because, for example, they buy a beautiful pot, and they really hold on to it. It's really permanent, nice pot, and at some point it breaks,
yeah.
and then they
Okay.
suffer because of this. They don't know this of changing of this pot really
Yeah,
clearly. And then they very suffer because, I wish they were free of this kind of suffering.
yeah,
And then same with inherent existence, for example. They grasping as things as really existing by its own self, or for
yeah.
oneself. That's really when I cling to myself, I'm really happy. But in fact, it's not. And then by this, cultivating compassion for it.
But when you remember on the last the mind map, there I was saying that compassion, observing near sentient beings, already there. We know, we have studied, we have thought about, we understand all three types of suffering. They're from the beginning, they are connected. And I think, like the all compound way suffering is like, or all these sufferings are always there, or most of the time, specifically the compound pervasive suffering. And how I understand now, I can just think about what makes sense to me out of what I was talking about today. That like it's connected. The more we understand these compassions, the more they grow and become vaster and profounder, the more it has an impact of how we observe sentient beings. You know what I mean? It's just the sentient beings still have all three kinds of sufferings.
But then you can just see it because you have this realization, you can more see it in a deeper level where it comes from, the suffering.
Right. And for example, specifically, the compassion is completely growing. The more we can see that how deeply this grasping of inherent existence is, or the grasping for a SSSE or a PUI, that this is so much suffering for nothing, when we can see it, look at it, so much not necessary. So that this increases the compassion, I think.
Or not.
Or not, I don't know.
It's only getting more complicated. These guys cannot get free of the suffering. It's impossible.
No. I don't agree or not. I say yes, because there are so many more factors that come together that gives us the strength also to say, sure, it's possible. I mean, think about the Four Noble Truths. This is the very, very basic, way beyond our topic here now, that we really know cessation is possible. So then we don't say, oh, no, it's not possible. Say, yeah, it is. And come on, let's do it. Okay.
Yeah, but still it's complicated. Still, especially with emptiness of inherent existence.
Sure, it is complicated. We will talk much more about all this. I think it's coming again and again. We talk of all these things, and I think from the timing today, it's probably already time to stop, that we don't get too long. Yep. So let me do this. Yes. And just again, whatever small merit that we generated through listening, sharing, reflecting on this topic of great compassion, we dedicate for our own and all sentient beings developing of great compassion and all our wished qualities. And with the wish for all sentient beings to be able to experience already now love and compassion in their lives, and eventually practice the radiated path. And specifically again these days, dedicate that all the warfare in the world may stop immediately. May the precious body-mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. In this land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Generesi Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. As long as space remains, and as long as sentient beings remain, may I too remain to dispel the misery of the world. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward already to the next session.